Hey, what's up everyone? Foxy here, and today I want to talk about how I think EHG could improve the Merchant's Guild. Now, I think the two main pain points for the in-game trade, which I think is fantastic that we have, is the ease to compare items and the user experience and user interface just misses the mark in my opinion. Now, I have a background in UX and UI, but not in the gaming space, so take what I say with a pinch of salt. There may be technical reasons or game design reasons they've done this, but I want to give my view, so I'm going to jump straight in. Right, the first pain point I have is the comparison window is on equip. Now, I don't know about you guys and girls, but I don't tend to want to sell the things I'm using. I tend to want to sell the things I find. So I think instead of having equipped here, we have the same window, but it's a comparison window. So you put your item you want to sell in, and let's say it shows the affixes below it. You can untick or tick those affixes or the implicits as well, which are the top stats. And you can also scroll the role ranges. That would be huge. And then you click search and then it just shows you exactly what you look at. Right now, how I have to do this is I either have to memorize the stats or I have to equip something I want to sell, which is painful, especially if, like, for example, this, I want to sell this. I have now unselected my skills because that item had skill selection on it, the minion skills. So that is already painful. So after trading, I have to redo my stats. And also, there's just some things I can't even equip. Like, I would never sell this trash item, but if I was, I can't even equip this. So I have to memorize the stats. So that's problem number one. And I think the solution would be like a comparison window. This brings me on to my next issue. So I think the ribbon at the top is a bit of an odd one. I don't think most people use this bit. I think most people use the more. Like, the level range, I never use. And at endgame, I don't really see much value in it. Gold cost, I've never used ever. Rarity is kind of useful. These two are a bit niche. And I think the things most people use are like the affixes and the searching by unique and then these ones. So I think what EHG could do is either show all these all the time or move around some of them so that some are visible and then save some others for the more option. And this list here, like, you can't even see what these things are, so you might as well give that space the more option. And even on listings, like, losing the bottom three isn't the end of the world. So that's one thing I think could be improved, especially if they're not going to do my suggestion around the comparison window. So let's say they're not going to do the comparison window. Let's take you through the pain points. Now, in UX and UI, you talk about the number of clicks a user does to get to their end goal. So I'm going to do those clicks. So I've done one click basically to put this in the window. It's actually a bit more, but let's say it's one. I then have to go, it's 2 LP. So I'm putting that in now. That's 2 more clicks. I then have to click once more here and once again here for toll mats. So now it's toll mats. That gets me to the point that I'm looking at the thing I'm selling. And that's already a large number of clicks that isn't really needed. And then I get into this weird situation where I can't search on a unique item's affixes quite often, which is another thing that I think EHG could put in. But let's say this had +2 to all minion skills, because realistically, these are all worthless if they have +1. I then had to do this like weird game where I'm looking around trying to find where the +2s start, and then once I get the +2s, I then move on to see these stats and, you know, get them higher. I think the better way to do this, if they couldn't do the comparison window, is being able to click on a stat and have it order it from highest to lowest. So, and this is what PoE does on their trade site. You click on this, say minion spell damage, it'll put the highest minion spell damage down, because most of the time these items have 1 or 2 stats people really care about and the rest is just nice to have. And then also an ability to search on the implicits would be great as well. There's no way of doing that either. So just to summarize, improve the ribbon, allow people to sort by certain options, put the affixes of uniques into the search engine, as well as the implicits as well. So I think that's this area that I think could be improved here. So literally as I was recording this, an item sold, and this brought another bugbear I have of the Merchants Guild. You can't collect gold elsewhere in the world. So if I was to click Y, I would expect when it pops up here that I can click this and it would, you know, let me collect my gold. I have to go to the bazaar, which is a bit of a bugbear. It's not the end of the world. There's a bit of theming to it. I'm okay with that. But another thing is when you click the visit the bazaar, you don't go to the bazaar. You get shown a map where the bazaar is pre-selected, and then you have to click again to teleport there. So these are just 2 little nitty-gritty things that just came to me as this item sold, which is 1, be able to collect your gold anywhere, and 2, if you click visit bazaar, just teleport me straight there. I don't need to see the map of where the bazaar is. So moving on to the next area. I like the idea of having different tradespeople selling different things. I'm pretty sure the reason they've done this is thematic and technical reasons. So they can basically split the load across all these people instead of having a single person which sells everything, which could be technically quite hard. But I think if they should really make it so if I go to my stall over here, I can search literally, let's say I can literally search anything I want here across the whole of the bazaar, so I don't have to run to each individual guy, because it's kind of fun at first, but then it gets really boring really quickly. And if they could do that, that would be huge. So if I open up idols, if I go to idols, the first thing is we've got dead affixes, right? So if we look at, let's use lightning resistance as an example here. So I've already pre-selected it. If we get lightning resistance here, the max roll of lightning resistance on a normal item is lower than the max roll of the exact same stat on a weaver's idol. And actually, this brings up another point that I had. You can't see the roll ranges in this view. You have to go to the list view to be able to see roll ranges. So that's another thing that needs to be updated. But this is 8% for lightning resistance. Is the highest roll you can get. So people will look at this. They'll try to get 27 for armor, and they'll look for 8%. And then like the big ticket items will be the max rolls of those particular ones. So if I go to, let's say I look for the highest roll range here, or nearly the highest, and I go lightning resistance as well, this stat here, there's going to be some big ticket items here that people are going to sell. I'm going to also, why is this not always low to high? That's another thing. I don't care how new something is, make it low to high, like always low to high. That's what everyone's going to use. So this one is worth 102 million because it's max stats, right? 8% lightning resistance, 27 armor. But hang on, hold your horses. If I go here and I untick this, and then I go to Weaver Idols, and I go, I'm just going to type lightning resistance here, and I don't know why I'm doing it the slowest possible way I could do it. Oh, that's another bug. Okay, so we're on to the next bug. If you use WASD and you type too quickly, it then just randomly opens other windows. So that's a bug as well. So this is a really good demo, actually. It's really showing my pain of trying to use this system. So let's try this again. I'm going to type really slowly and it'll be fine. Okay, and this, I think this is a WASD bug. And then I click lightning resistance. Which lightning resistance do I click? So the reason there's two of these is there's two different idols. There's a tall idol and a small idol that both use this stat, and it's completely different. So you have to guess. I'm going to guess it's this one. Okay, we're going to search. Did I guess the right one? I guessed the right one this time. But if I guessed the other one, it would have given me the 2x1 instead of the 1x1. So if I click this one, it'll be the 2x1. Oh no, it doesn't even exist. So if I click that one, it just would have showed me nothing. So I think the first improvement here is, again, if you can't get a comparison window, if you select something first, everything else that is not going to show a result because it doesn't exist in that combination, just don't show me it. I don't want to see it. Second thing is, if I click here, this is a dead stat, which was the whole point of why I started this diatribe. Literally, and I'll go into list view again because I can't see the roll ranges, this rolls from 9 to 12%. So if you remember what I showed you earlier, someone was selling, I think, something for 100 million to get 8% lightning resistance, 27 armor. You can get more than that for 34,000 gold, because basically that other stat is a dead stat. If you get a Weaver's version of this in the Merchant's Guild, which you can easily do, it makes the other stat completely obsolete to the Merchant's Guild. Like, you never want the 8% one. Even if you don't use minions, this is the one you would buy. So that whole stat is pointless. So let's just recap on those things. 1, we got dead stats on the Merchant's Guild. 2, we've got a bug that when you try to search a second affix, it opens random windows if you use WASD. And 3, there's duplications of the same stat, especially in the Weaver tree. There's a lot of them. So again, you just see double of everything, and that's because different idols have this stat, but different roll ranges of it. Improvements to this would be, without a comparison window, if you select one affix, it will then only show you the potential other affixes that could go with it. That would help a lot. 2, fix the bug, obviously. And then 3, maybe show you suffix, prefix, roll ranges, just something to make it a little bit easier for the users to use. So I think, just to summarize, I think the biggest things that would help the Merchant's Guild portion of this game would be to have an in-game trade price checker, similar to Awakened PoE, where you look at an item and it says roughly how much it's worth, so you can chuck it away while you're out and about doing your monoliths, and a comparison window where you put the item you want to sell in that window and it immediately, searches for similar items of that sort. The next best things on there would be to improve, the unique affixes you search for, the implicits you can search for, reducing the clicks, making that top ribbon bigger so you don't have to keep clicking more every time, ironing out the bugs, and then like the nice to haves, which is being able to collect your gold out and about, not having to click visit bazaar and then click again to then teleport to it. But these are all sort of minor things. I just want to say, the fact that EHG has done this, it is incredible. They split COF, Merchants Guild, great, quality of life and game mechanics. And they've got such a good UX UI team as well. I'm sure they can absolutely smash this out apart way better than whatever I've suggested. But hopefully this has been good. I've kept this video short. Do say in the comments whether you agree, disagree, think my takes are trash, whatever. I'd love to hear feedback and improve. And hopefully, if EHG's watching this, anything's useful, go for it. So I hope you like my TED Talk. If you have, feel free to chuck us a like and subscribe. I still don't have an outro, so on this rambling monologue, I'm going to go. So bye now. Bye. Bye.